Hello guys and welcome back to my YouTube channel, and I'll be reading the book The Taste of Poison by Tessonja Odette. I'll be reviewing the book A Taste of Poison. The novel explores young adult fiction and fantasy fiction. As I go deeper into the fantasy world, I want the readers to see the dynamic relationship between Astrid Snow, Torben / the Huntsman, and the relationship under the rule of the Spring Queen. This book can be read in order or on its own as a series. This book is based on the retelling of Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. As we go into the book, we start to understand that the novel deals with the themes of fairy tale, deception and grief. The classic details of the tale are untranslated into Taste of Poison. Warning, this book contains drug use, violence and intimate scenes. In reading this book, we explore the flirtatious and love for each other between Astrid and Torben / the Huntsman. For example, in chapter 27, we both get carried away last night, so we should keep things professional. This shows the comical and flirtatious relationship between both of them, which is prominent in the novel, and which is shown quite a lot in every single chapter. The undeniable love for each other. The themes that the novel deals with is the Seven Dwarfs, the magic mirror, the poisoned apple, the huntsman, and the wicked stepmother. First, we're going to start with the Seven Dwarfs. The Seven Dwarfs is a sinkhole, a place Astrid fled to where it's overseen by 7 sisters that each embody a different sin. Through sin doesn't interact with all them. Magic mirror. Astrid and her power allows her to reflect back either the best or worst qualities of a person based on the first impression and her mood. She doesn't know how to control her power, so no one knows what Astrid truly looks like. Poison apple. Poison pie is used a fey fruit that looks like an apple, which also be turned into a drug that Astrid is addicted to. The huntsman. Torben Devonport. He may have been sent by the Queen Tris to get Astrid's heart. Just like in the original tale, he is unable to go through with killing Astrid as he feels protected of her. The wicked stepmother. Queen Tris. She married Astrid's father and was envious of Astrid, but she only sent the huntsman to get Astrid's heart when Tris believed Astrid was responsible for her death. The reading from the blurb, it mentions that the half-fey Astrid Snow is used to being disliked, and the magic that makes her mirror back one worst qualities. She has more enemies than friends, and when she's accused of poisoning her father, the Spring Queen is Astrid's greatest enemy. She goes into the hiding in the Seven Sins Hotel, the bear shifter known as the huntsman, Torben Devonport. They lost everything to gambling halls. To pay off her debts, he serves fey royals as their personal huntsman. Spring Queen offers him a bargain that will erase his debts for good, if it means finding the Queen's runaway stepdaughter and cutting her heart out, which is Astrid's heart they're going to cut out. When Astrid and the huntsman meet, it's not so easy, as the huntsman still wants to kill her, even if they have the slight feelings for each other. Can Astrid cut through Torben on cold personality or convince him to help her, or find the real killer who killed her father? The unique twist in the story is Astrid takes the poison she takes to avoid her grief, and this poison allows her to see her father, but it turns out she sees Torben who carries her. She doesn't stay on the drug the entire time, but goes through a journey which she remembers her father, but she turns out to be Torben. Torben's gambling addiction that resulted in him being forced to become huntsman for 100 years to pay off the debt, with the price is to give up love. The two endings are agreeing to prove to Astrid innocence and finding the real individual and poison the pie crust that killed her father. Astrid believes that Tris was responsible for the killing due to the jealousy the Queen had towards Astrid. Torben's convinced Astrid as Tris cannot lie. They learn the female in the Spring Court is behind several events that happened during Torben's capture of Astrid. This turns out to be Astrid's lady maid who stole a chariot that Torben needs as part of his bargain with Queen Tris. The maid admits she was forced to poison the pie, but she doesn't say who forced to do so, only it was someone in the Queen Court. We see the juxtaposition between the beginning of the novel and the epilogue. For example, the juxtaposition is shown in the mirror, which is Astrid's power. In chapter 1, thousands of people have seen my face, and yet no one knows what I look like. People see me, but they don't really see me. That's the nature of being a mirror. People may notice things about me and may see what I'm doing, how I'm sitting, where I'm standing, but once I leave another's proximity, I remain faceless, featureless. This almost shows that she means featureless to people. People don't see her true form and her true beauty at all in the beginning of the novel. in the epilogue, in the end of the novel, it says, thousands of people have seen my face, and those thousands, only a handful know what I truly look like. A year has passed since I had learned how to control my magic to some degree at the feast, and it was always easy. Sometimes I'm meeting a new stranger, something about their countenance, the colour of their lips. This shows that only a few people know her appearance, and the only person that knows her appearance is Torben. Torben knows her appearance and her true beauty, from her grey eyes to her blue-black hair to her coral lips. Those are her true beauty. But in the beginning of the novel, no one sees her true beauty. Everyone just sees her worst qualities because those are her enemies. And the most important to identify in the novel, what killed her father was a crimson millus. And crimson millus was used in the poison apple. And when this was used upon Astrid, this leads her to hallucinate. And this hallucination works in her, but doesn't kill her exactly, because she is stronger. And when reading the novel, you start to understand that both of the novels present the worst and best qualities of her true nature. But this novel also teaches you how to embrace your good and your bad qualities about you, and also to look at yourself in the mirror, and also for other people to see the best qualities within yourself. But also this story teaches you about love and fighting for each other, and this is seen in one of the chapters when Spring Queen wants to kill Astrid, but Torben and Astrid proves to the Queen that their love for each other are very strong, and this angers Torben when the Spring Queen wants to kill her, because the main theme of the novel is to prove Astrid's innocence. Astrid's innocence is very important, proving Astrid's innocence, and Astrid's innocence because she was falsely accused of killing her own father, when really it was Spring Queen who killed her own father out of envy, because every time when she looked at herself in the mirror, she saw herself, and she envied the fact that everyone loved her and cared for her around her. And that's important to identify when reading the novel, that everyone dearly loved her and dearly cared for her. And that's very important to understand when reading the novel. It teaches you to find acceptance within yourself, acceptance that you are changing, you're growing, you're evolving, you're becoming a new person, but acceptance of love, that there's people around you who love you and who cherish you and who care for you, and really the enemy is yourself. And like, you may have enemies, but it's really yourself that is the enemy when you don't have no one to support you. But Torben supports her and guides her throughout this journey of finding the truth behind who's her real father. And Maurice, who is the real character, who's the character in the novel, reveals to her that Edmund is not her real father. Edmund is the person which is outside her, and her real father was killed. And Sealies are very good at deceiving people, because we learn that children are not allowed to reveal their true names. Sealy children are not allowed to reveal their true names, only unless there's a bargain. And the debt which Torben has to pay in the novel is love. But he goes against that, and which for this he reveals his true name, which is Torben. And this almost teaches you that to not fall for Sealy's deception, but also to like make sure that you understand the truth and keep fighting for the truth, and keep fighting for the truth behind every crime which has been committed as well in the novel, which is very important, which goes against the traditional storytelling of Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. You may think this is a typical love story of romance, and like finding like a journey and finding like who the real prince is, but in the novel you definitely, in your tricks from reading this is not a typical love story. At first Astrid and Torben do not take to each other, but eventually their love for each other grows, because Astrid's innocence is what blooms and what grows, and which is shown in the novel. And really you can't judge a book by its cover, because it almost shows that Astrid is the one in the story which in the end her innocence is proved. And it's made me really happy when reading the novel, because I was like, thank you, her innocence is finally improved. It's proved that she's innocent, and that she can finally fall in love with the huntsman, which is Torben, and that their love for each other will never die, it will always prevail and also grow. And when looking at the cover, you can almost see in particular, we probably expect to see both of them together, but it's not really shown. It just shows an apple and it just shows a tree, so you can't really judge the book by its cover thinking, oh, and see, you open it and then it's just about two people falling in love. It's more than that. is more deeper, it's more real, which the author does really well. And also in the novel that she goes also the good characterization, the world building, and the use of characterization. She also uses the good use of like instantly you're brought into the world and instantly you're transported. Like reading this book, it's hard to separate yourself from reality, because reality becomes within this novel for you. Reality is this novel, so when you shut the book, instantly you're like, whoa, this is the real world now. This book is just a fantasy novel, but it's more than that. It has actually more meaning to it. It teaches you to have an acceptance within yourself, which I truly love about this novel. And I hope when reading this book you can understand the feeling that I had when reading this book, that this book shows the character's emotions, the character's feelings, the character's desires, but the character's true nature, and the character's history, and the history of the land, and the history of the characters as well, that you have to bear in mind in reading this novel, which is good contextualized in the novel too. So guys, I hope you enjoyed reviewing The Taste of Poison by Tessonja Odette, and bye. See you soon.